All right, what's up? Welcome back to the Bean Apple. Joe, John, Jim might make it. Not quite sure. We were very flexible on this one today. I had some stuff going on that ended up allowing the show to end up happening after all. Then Jim took off because he thought the show wasn't happening. So we'll see if he makes it back in time. But John is here. I know he was been patiently waiting by his computer to talk about the game last night.
And the number one AFC seed New England Patriots.
Yeah, that hurts my heart.
That team.
It does. I'm not gonna lie to you. It kills me inside. But again, another week of some crazy games, up and down. And we were just talking about this a second ago. Like I can't think of a year past. Just talking about it in the green room right before we came on here. Is there's no clear cuts this year, right? I mean, we talked about last year was Kansas City and Tampa Bay done. Like that was your 1 and 2. You know, the Packers were in there. But every year, you usually know who your top dogs are. And then by this time of the season, the playoffs are pretty much set. You've got one or two teams that are fighting to stay in playoff relevation? Is that
You know what? We'll just say it's a word because I
Look
know
at it.
what relevance you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Playoff
relevation,
relevance. Thank you.
relevance, whatever you want to call it, man.
Whatever.
It's our show. We can say whatever we want to say.
This is now the relevance show.
Lions.
Revelation.
Yes,
that
we'll
was a good one
talk
too.
about that one. We'll talk about that one.
Yeah, but
Travis, my
just
friend,
right-
how are you, brother? Jacob, welcome. Carlos,
Ah.
welcome.
Jacob's
Man.
gonna be pissed all night. Relevancy. Yeah, I don't know where I was. I'm
Relevancy.
sorry.
Travis,
Thank you.
Travis, we're both engine troops. I think we drank the hydraulic fluid from the motors. You just got it on your hands. We actually drank it. So
Yeah.
our
It's
bad.
red. It's red.
It's red.
It
I mean,
looks
it looked
like Kool-Aid. It is
It
Kool-Aid,
does.
right?
I mean, you put some ice cubes in. It's just a little tangy. That's all.
Done. Gives you a little tingly feeling inside. all
Tongue-
over head to toe.
Tongue numb all over. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. But no, the playoffs this year, they were just showing the playoff picture of the AFC in last night's game. The screen was full of all teams that are still in playoff contention, which is unlike anything we've seen in years past. I mean, and there is no like, this is the number one team. This is the team to beat. It was supposed to be Buffalo. Buffalo does not look like the team to beat.
Not anymore.
Kansas City struggling. Looked a little better yesterday, but still, I mean, just a lot. NFC side, Tampa's been struggling. Arizona's cruising now that they got Kyler back again, looking pretty good. But they did play the Bears and give up 22 points, which kind of shocked me. I'm not gonna lie to you. So yeah, just a lot of weirdness going on overall. So, but yeah, let's break down some of these shockers. We'll talk about yours. We'll talk about mine. We could give Jim some shit if he doesn't jump on about his Giants getting manhandled by the Fish, which was pretty crazy. And then just a lot of crazy games. Seahawks came back to life. Pisses me off,
Yeah.
something fierce, but what an impact Deebo Samuel has on that 49ers team, huh?
Sure does.
I mean,
Sure does. I mean, Kittle's come back and it's been a beast, but you
Yeah.
know what? Brandon Ayuk just is not Debo Samuel. He's just not.
no, he's something
And they
special.
don't have a running game. I mean, let's face it. San Francisco's like friggin' Baltimore this year. They just have nothing. And I shouldn't say nothing because Mitchell is playing very well for a rookie. So
Yeah.
I don't want to discredit him, but at the same
Yep.
time, it's
And then, a couple to touch on before we really dig in, but that Steelers game, definitely need to talk about that one.
wow. Thank you, Baltimore.
Shocking.
Thank you. That's all I gotta
Shocking.
say. Thank you, Baltimore.
Washington continuing to run, man. Going to Vegas, knocking them off in a low-scoring affair, but that defense,
500 now. 500.
that defense, we said at the beginning of the year, this is the defense we were expecting to see.
Yes.
And it's finally, once Chase Young goes down, it finally steps up. I
Yeah.
I can't make heads or tails of that one. And of course, the Lions, big win. I can't wait to talk about that one. Chargers. The Chargers go into Cincy and manhandle that kitty. I mean, just incredible. I can't even call it a tire. They just roughhoused it right to sleep, really. The Bengals did try to make a comeback there for a little bit when they were down, 24-0, I think it was. And they did make a comeback, but then the Chargers just took that one right back away. And then, of course,
Jacob, you know what? Thank you, brother. So do I, man. That's coming
oh,
from a
God.
giant. Jacob,
Yeah, we're going to get into this one a
no
little
one's
bit,
going to
but
disagree with you, brother. No one's going to disagree with
I'm
you.
going to disagree with him, and
You
I'll
can
tell
all
you
day
when we get
long.
to it.
Can't wait to hear it.
And unfortunately, the Jets just couldn't keep up with the Eagles. I mean, that defense. I definitely want to get into that a little bit. That defense is atrocious.
Jets.
It's bad. But John, where do you want to start?
Well,
You got a favorite from the week outside of?
should we start with the number one AFC ranked team last
mean,
night? Should we start backwards, or you want to
Do you
finish
want
with
to
that?
get into that, or you want to wait till
I'll
some
tell
more
you
people
what.
jump
I'll tell
in?
you what. Let's finish with that. Let's finish with that.
All right.
What I would
You
like to
you
talk
deserve it.
about-
I'll let you have the floor to close the show with your
Sounds
Patriots.
good. Sounds good. So let's start with, you called it the Baltimore Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
So there you are. You can tie it up. You're the number one seed right there. Home field is huge. There's only one team that's going to get a bye, one team that's going to get home field throughout.
Yep.
You can kick an extra point on a fairly low scoring game anyways, and just be done. Take your chances with overtime, or you're going to play a short field with a pretty damn good defense still. I don't care what anybody says about Pittsburgh. Their D is still very good.
Yes.
And you're going to take your chances on a very short field and a ball that hits Mark Andrews in the hand, which, okay, maybe it wasn't the best thrown pass, but the guy has hands the size of our head, Joe. He could have pulled that in. But still, I can't believe they did that. I cannot believe – I mean, it takes balls. I'll give Harbaugh credit. But, boy, you just gave up the number one seed, and, their schedule doesn't get any easier either. You know what I mean? They still get Cleveland. Right. I'm not saying Cleveland's great, but, man, those division games are tough. Very tough.
And that's to me, it's an example of a coach that's like the Belichick effect, right? Where coaches just outthink themselves. You have the best kicker. You have the best kicker arguably in history.
Yes.
In Justin Tucker. He could kick 66-yard field goals.
Yeah.
And he went for the 2-point because he was worried about his safety situation.
I didn't understand
like his situation with the safeties. Like, what does that have to? You win the coin toss and you just go downfield and win.
You go downfield and win. Yeah, Matt, you and I are going to agree to start the show off. So we're going to have to disagree about something later. But, Matt, I agree. Kick the PAT, it's clown shit. It really is. Yeah. You kick the extra point, you go to overtime, and you take your chances there. You're the number one seed. And now what's happened? Here's Pittsburgh with a little bit of life. Does anybody honestly want to see Pittsburgh in the playoffs?
No, it's like, does anybody want to see the Patriots in the playoffs? No, we're done with it. We're done with all.
You're done with the Patriots. You're done with Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh is a scary team. It's Big Ben's last year. There it is. There's the jump start they need. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, just a terrible call.
With Cincy losing, that could have opened a 2-game lead for the Ravens, which basically would have put the division away. And instead, now you're looking at 8-4, Cincy at 7-5, Pittsburgh at 6-5, Cleveland at 6-6. Everybody in that division is still in it. I mean, you're talking you're 2 games between first and fourth.
Right.
It's there. It's there for the taking. And in reality, Pittsburgh has that tie as well. So they're actually only a game and a half back instead of 2.
Right.
So, you kick that field goal. You win the coin toss, you go downfield, and you win the game. I mean, it's Lamar Jackson. He could basically run downfield by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking there. It was one of the worst calls.
Terrible.
I
was floored when they did that. I was floored. When
I couldn't believe when I saw that final score pop up, and I was like, no, this what? No sense. Very, very irritating.
Yeah.
Game there. Congratulations, Steelers fans, but
yeah,
should not have happened. But Lamar did not have a good game at all. He had a 42 QBR, 7 sacks in the game. He's a hard man to bring down. 7 sacks, which is...
that D was rolling that day. So, I mean, why would you go for 2? But then again, maybe the argument is, why would you try and win at overtime? Probably because you have a better chance. Again, it's a short field. They have, 20 yards to cover versus whatever. You know what I mean? It's just kick the extra point and go. But, hey, I'm glad because... New England benefited from it.
Yeah,
they truly did.
No, I mean that's what. I mean, I don't know. You can't make sense of it, right? I mean, you just really can't. But when you're worried about not kicking the point because of your defense, What is so scary? Like they scored 20 points in the game. It wasn't like it was
Right.
I could see if it was 45-44 final, your defense couldn't stop anything and it was like we might as well just go for it because if they get the ball they're going to score type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's 20-19. I mean, the defense was holding on. So
Wasn't there a missed kick or something too? Didn't somebody miss a PAT? Hold on, let me see here. Tucker didn't. No, I guess not. My bad. Never mind.
yeah.
That would have been a much better story. How about this? I'm going to lie. Yeah, there was a missed extra point too.
It was in practice, but
As
they
in
missed it.
practice, yes. He missed it still.
Yeah, so that game was one of the absolute crazy ones. Let me jump back over the scoreboard. Yeah, Tampa came very close. You know, I mean that game stayed close for most of it. Do you see that touchdown, that interception? That
Pick six.
Pick six at like the 3.
At the 3.
What is Brady? You know Brady. What is he thinking? Did you talk to him after the game? Like
I
what,
called him.
what
I
did
said,
you see?
Tom.
What did-
I called him. I said, Tom, I mean, you threw 5 touchdowns. It was one of the other team. What happened? He goes, John, I had something in my eye. There was something floating around in the air.
Okay.
It got in my eye. I thought it
'Cause
was,
it was
my
a dome?
guy. It was
Yeah.
a dome. Yeah, there was like dust or something. I don't know. So,
Gotcha.
no, and I'll tell you what. Look at Gronk again. 2 more touchdowns. The guy's a beast. Wait till they get, if they even keep Antonio Brown, which I don't see how you can, but I think they will. I don't think they should. But
Well, they would have cut him already, right?
I don't know. Can you cut them while they're suspended? I don't know how that works, to be quite
Pretty
honest.
sure he would just continue to be suspended if somebody else signed him.
Maybe. I don't know how that works, but I mean Russell Gage on the other side of the ball, 11 for 130.
Finally, your
Man,
boy
the
showed
Russell
up.
Gage sighting.
It took
Kyle
13 weeks.
Pittswood. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 for 48 for Pitts. On the other side,
Yeah.
Godwin 15 for 143.
17 targets.
That's
17 beast mode. Look at
Just-
and finally Mike Evans with like 10 targets too. I
10
think,
targets,
so.
came up a yard short of hitting that century mark, which
Yeah.
too
Fournette,
bad.
boy, there's a running back that Buffalo should court next year. Pay him, because I'll tell you what, Buffalo needs a quarterback.
Well, 13 for 44, but he had 7 for 48 on the receiving side. I still can't believe that Jacksonville just cut him. I still just boggles the mind.
Something must have happened, man. There must have been
That whole
something
team,
more.
though, everybody wanted out of there. I mean, you think back to, what was it, like Ramsey got traded, and then Fournette wanted out, and then
Ngakoue.
Ngakoue, yeah, everything. I mean, even just bashing the owner just to get out of that situation. Like, a lot of players wanted out. You have to wonder, like, what was going on internally that you weren't hearing about, and why haven't we heard about it still? It's been a couple years. You'd think it would
of
have come
how
out.
good they've drafted. Travis, man, that must drive you nuts, brother.
Yeah.
Think of how good they've drafted. They have
they've
drafted
crushed.
very, very, very well.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted out. I mean, I don't know. Is it the stadium? I've never been there. I don't know. Fresh running back, man. Look at what Fournette's doing in Tampa, brother.
Yeah. I mean, Zach Moss is in year 2. That's pretty fresh.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
Fournette's only been in the league for 5 years. I mean, I mean, look at him in Tampa. He, seven targets for 5 receptions again. I mean, he's a pass catcher too.
yeah.
Especially with Brown out. With Brown out, he's going to get a lot more love.
Oh, he's going to get paid. He won't be back in Tampa next year. So,
I
can't
agree,
see that
Travis, but yeah, probably. But that's also what he told Antonio Brown, and he's not cut yet either. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's more Brady. I think it's more Brady. They don't want to release Brown because of Brady. They don't want to They don't want to. They
Maybe.
don't want to stir that pot because they've seen, kind of how it probably ended in New England a little bit. Probably not on the best
Yeah.
terms, of course. So
Yeah, and I remember Tom Coughlin was causing a lot of issues
Mhm.
there in Jacksonville as the GM there for a while till he finally called it quits trying to run that operation like he was in New York, and it's
Yeah.
different people, different mentalities.
Yeah.
Didn't cross over very well.
just
there,
a lot
so,
of talent, man. Just a lot of talent that Jacksonville's had, and they just couldn't keep them. That's
Yeah,
I'd
we'll,
be
we'll
pissed
see.
if
I
I was
mean,
a fan.
you got Trevor Lawrence now. You got Josh Allen last year, who's, I mean, he looked really good. Now he's looked somewhat good in a couple games, but this year they're gonna have another high draft pick. I mean, Travis Etienne's going to be back next year too. That's going to be a very nice piece to get back into the fold there. Lot of still, it's easy to get stuck on the teams that are bad right now, but it's also easy to forget how quickly a team can turn things around with a couple of key players. I mean, free agent. Look at your defense this year compared to last year. I mean, not draft wise, but free agency. You go out, you grab a couple key players, and that defense is turned around completely. So.
Judon, what a beast.
Yeah.
What an absolute beast. Love that
It doesn't
guy.
take much. It really doesn't take much. It takes a couple of key players and some good coaching, and it turns all around again. So, so hang in there, Jacksonville. Just like my team. Another year of the draft. Another year of free
compare. We're comparing Jacksonville and the Jets.
Hey,
that's depressing.
Jacksonville's 2-10. The Jets are 3-9. You apologize for that. I should not be comparing a worse Jacksonville team. You're absolutely right. Sorry.
Absolutely not. So Joe, let's you talked about the team earlier. Kansas City. So Kansas City beat Denver 22-9. Okay. The game was never really close because Denver couldn't score.
Yeah.
But what is up with Mahomes? Honestly, I mean, barely 50% passing. I think they have the same problem as Buffalo. They don't have a running game, and they're finally on to these guys. And it's not that even like Allen and Mahomes run a whole lot. I mean, Allen probably runs more than Mahomes. Mahomes doesn't run that much anyways. But I think it's just they try and keep him in the pocket, and I don't know that they just don't look good. They don't look like the last 3 years. They don't look like the last 3 years.
No, Mahomes looks skittish. Ever since the Super Bowl, he looks skittish.
Yeah.
The first 2 years,
get it.
The first 2 years, he would just dip right out of the pocket and be gone. Just gone. And now he's running sideways. He's looking and looking and looking and looking for somewhere to throw the ball instead of just tucking it and going. I don't know. And to me, that's the big difference that I see is years past, once he's out of the pocket, he's looking for a running lane. And now he's looking for a throwing lane. It doesn't make a lot of sense because his game is his legs. He's just as good with his legs as he is throwing. So let him run.
Yeah.
That, it's the same thing I was looking, just not going to dive into this game, but like Zach Wilson. Like Zach Wilson was supposed to be a dual threat type of quarterback. They compared him to Patrick Mahomes, right? Because he could do it with his legs and his arm. He's got 25 yards rushing this year. That doesn't make any sense. He's getting chased out of the pocket all the time. Let him go pick up 7 yards and slide. Yeah. Like, I don't understand what's going on in the league. The guys that can run are just trying to throw all the time. It doesn't make much sense. But yeah, Mahomes doesn't look right. In this game, I mean, you say it wasn't close, but it was 13-3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but I mean, I just say it's not close because Denver never really put anything together to come close to score.
I mean,
that's what I mean. Score-wise, Joe, I'm with you all day, but it was just Denver never even came close to scoring. You know what I mean? There was a couple interceptions by Teddy, and I feel bad for that guy, man. I thought he was going to be a good fit in Denver, and it's just I don't know. Denver's like a lot of other teams that have lost quarterbacks in the 90s and 80s and just can't find that next quarterback. They just can't.
Except for Peyton Manning, but
I don't count the 2 year stint. Actually, one really good year he had, and his last year they won it. He looked 75 years old. He couldn't even throw the ball 5 yards.
He did. But Kansas City, I mean, the point I was getting to was they're 8-4 now, right? Which is still great, but if they were playing anybody else, like this game, it's anybody's game going into the fourth quarter. Like that's a game where you're down by 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Right.
You could still win that game easily. And that's not what you see from Kansas City very often is the game is over in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was.
Whoever their backup is playing. You know what I mean?
Right. It's 44-9 in the fourth quarter. And
Mahomes is on the sideline, hanging out with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey. But I mean, so they have the Raiders, the Chargers, Steelers, Bengals, and Broncos. I'm not saying that those teams will beat them. And Matt's saying 6 to 7 more games. They only have 5 games left. I think what you're asking is, they're going to lose 6 to 7 games. They could. I mean, it honestly wouldn't surprise me if Kansas City lost a couple more games just by the way they're playing, Matt. You can't say they're playing well. They just aren't. This is not the same Kansas City team. I mean, I think all of us picked them to win 15 games.
Yeah,
I mean, some people were saying that
one or two losses,
and some of the national media had them not losing any games. They said this is the closest that a team will come to going undefeated, and I don't know what happened. I mean, we talked about that O-line. They now their defense is playing well, and they're lucky. Their defense, I think, is playing really well, like the last week and a half.
Yeah. Well, it's also that, isn't it every year the losing team in the playoffs in the Super Bowl doesn't make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, they got manhandled. So
yeah. But again, those 5 next games are very losable. They just talk, especially in today's NFL. I mean, it seems like that for anybody.
Yep.
But I mean, it's a lot of division games. You got Pittsburgh and Cincy. Which one of them are going to show?
Yeah.
And then you get at Denver to end the season, so it's going to be cold. It's going to be another division game.
Right. Then you've got 3 division games here. You just finished the Broncos. You've got the Raiders, who last year played them well. This first game they got, I think, the doors blown off, right? 41-14. Like, that's the only game that the Chiefs have looked like the Chiefs in since, God, you got to go back to Washington, 31-13 in week 5. I mean, just, not the same. So, the Raiders do play them hard. We'll see if they bounce back. The Chargers just looked like the Chargers we expected against Cincy. Is that going to show up again? The Steelers, the defense is great. That's about it. The Bengals, that offense it could be lights out, or it could be a power outage. I mean, it's one of those things. You don't know which of those teams is going to show up either. I mean, would you be shocked if they went on a 4-game losing streak?
No, but and here I'll agree with Matt a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if they won all 5. But you're blaming little guy Clyde fumbled 2 games away. Mahomes hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 games. Don't give me this shit that it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Mahomes is the leader of that team. He's getting paid $50 million. Step up. Don't blame a friggin' running back who carries the ball 7 times a game, you moron. God, blame the friggin' quarterback who's making $50 million. Come on. Please, don't blame it on a running back who just came back a couple weeks ago. He hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 weeks. He dismantled friggin' the Raiders because, God forbid, if anything else happened to them, it'd be brutal. You take out that Raider game where he threw for 5 touchdowns. He's thrown 2 touchdowns in 4 weeks. Come on, give me a break. Yeah, he got stripped. Why are they running the ball? Because Mahomes can't do shit. That's why. Mahomes can't do shit. Just say it, Matt. It's okay. You're talking about a Baltimore game. What week was that? God, let's talk about the last 5 games. Talk about the last 5. Take out that.
Baltimore was week 2.
Week 2. So let's go back to week 2, Matt. Jesus, you're an idiot. God, just get off the show. I told you, me and Matt would only agree for 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's
God,
over.
it's just stupid. Don't talk like that. I wish Shaney was on. He'd say the same exact thing I would.
All right, so let's get off Patrick Mahomes. We'll see what happens over the next couple games here, but
I'm sure he won't throw a touchdown because that's not in his repertoire anymore.
Well, they are playing Las Vegas, so maybe another 4 touchdown games.
Oh, another 5 to pad his 25 touchdowns. There we go.
Right.
He's going to throw 18 against 2 teams.
Yep, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
So, all right. So can we talk about my team a little bit here?
Please, let's do.
All right. While you're angry, I want to get you while you're angry.
I'm really not that. Really not.
You won't like John when he's angry.
Yeah, you won't like me. I'm the Hulk. I wear Joe's green shirt.
Mm-hmm. He's the Hulk. So the Jets in this defense it's atrocious. It really is. And I want to, I don't want to, but I want to speak to the fans out there, the Jets fans that are like, that can't understand why Robert Saleh is a defensive coach and yet the defense is playing bad. It's because the talent's not there, right? I mean, everybody's like, oh, he's a defensive coach. He should know how to do it. Like the team has no talent on the defensive side of the ball. Like you've got C.J. Mosley, and that's it. Like there's Quinnen Williams. That's about it. You've got two players on the defensive side of the ball that are good. I mean, Marcus May's hurt. Carl Lawson's hurt. I mean, who else do you have? Our best cornerback is a 5th-round pick from last year's draft. That's the best corner we've got. It's just bad. The safeties are hurt.
James,
The defense is
I don't know.
defense is bad.
Jim, I mean, seriously, why would you do that?
He's good because he knows it should have happened,
No,
and it almost
shouldn't have.
it started out very nice until
Shouldn't have.
the defense allowed the Gardner Minshews to score on 7 consecutive drives. 7.
So, did I not say Gardner Minshew is better than Zach Wilson? And what did you say? No, he is not.
Well, he's not better than he's just on
No,
a better
he's
team.
100%. No,
He's on a better team.
Philly's not good. Come on, they're
How
6
is
and
Philly-
7, but they're
they're
not
6
a
and
great
7.
team.
They're a better
now
team.
all of a sudden, Philly's a good team. Okay,
They're a better team than the Jets.
man, Jets fans, I love it.
It is. I mean, I don't know. It's rough.
Sorry, Jim,
But-
I'm just trying to get you going, man.
I don't. I mean, Gardner Minshew played a great game. He really did. But the defense just gave up everything. Sanders had 120 yards rushing. I think they said it's his second or third 100-yard game in his career. Like everybody runs wild. Yeah, they can't stop the run at all. And what do I say? Like week in and week out, like start tight ends against the Jets defense because Dallas Goedert went ballistic. I mean, best game of his career, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. They had no answer for him. It's going to be bad. If you could pick up Gronk for when the Jets play Tampa, you might want to grab him and just stash him on the bench if he's available in any leagues because he's probably going to have 7 touchdowns in that game. It's just insane. But Elijah Moore on the Jets side, like if there's any positives, Elijah Moore still continues to look really good. He had 2 really bad drops. I will give him that. There was 2 that he should have had. Really would have padded his stats a lot. There was one at the end of the game. It was probably a 45-yard throw downfield that looked like it bounced off his hands. Really did. So he had 12 targets in this game. I mean, just a target hog, but only 6. He only came down with 6 of them. 77 yards. He did have a touchdown. He should have had 2 because he missed him and he dropped one in the back of the end zone. And another big, like I said, 40-plus yard downfield. He's getting the targets. Like that's definitely another guy you want to keep starting. The Jets are bad, but now Corey Davis is also on the IR. He's done for the year with having core muscle surgery. So another wide receiver gone. But I do like Elijah Moore for the rest of the way here. And Zach Wilson did come out and looked good starting the game, which is the exact opposite of what happens. The bad thing is they just fell behind so bad, and the defense could not get off the field. The Jets had the ball in the third and halfway through the fourth quarter, a combined 77 seconds. Just going to let that sink in for a second. 77 seconds. They had the ball for a quarter and a half of football. What are you going to do? Like, what do you... there's no... It was like a 9-minute drive Gardner Minshew had for one of the scores. It was... What are you going to do for Zach Wilson? What's Zach Wilson supposed to do with that?
So
I just don't know. No Michael Carter, no Corey Davis, no tight ends. Griffin left the game as well halfway through. And he's not a great tight end, but he's the best tight end that we've got. So, I mean, I don't know what to do or what to make of it. I'm encouraged that Zach Wilson came out and looked good in the beginning of the game. Unfortunately, there's just the talent on the team is not there to have a shootout like this. Like once you fall behind, they're not
can't
going
have
to
a shootout because they can't stop anybody. So the shootout.
Well, that's what I mean.
I mean it's they can't stop anyone, and so we talked about this. The Jets have to strike gold on their next couple drafts.
Yeah.
But is that going to be enough? You know what I mean? Are you going to entice other free agents to come aboard? You know what I mean? How are you going to get them? And I'm not dogging the Jets. I mean, Saleh's a defensive minded coach, but we also said he's never been a head coach before either. So
Yeah.
they're all starting fresh.
Right.
But what do the Jets do to get some vets there too? I mean, well, you got a bunch of rookies like the Celtics had for years, and say, "Oh, we're getting the number one this year. Look at how great we are." No, we're not good because we don't have that. We don't have that vet presence. Then we go out and sign the wrong ones. So, are you guys going to sign the right ones? You guys going to sign the wrong ones? I mean, you signed Corey Davis. You thought he was going to be okay. He's out for the year. You know, your linebacker was out all of last year, and then the year before, and then with COVID last year. So, what's his name, Mosley, right? So
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Carter looks promising. You know, your wide receiver there looks very promising, and Elijah Moore. I get him every week in DraftKings. I really do, because I mean he's super cheap and he puts up points. But
yeah,
I mean, where's the O line gonna be? Where's the defense? You know, where's the pressure gonna come from on that D line? Because this day and age, if you can't put pressure on the quarterback, you're screwed. You're
right.
absolutely screwed.
I do agree, and hopefully, you know, Carl Lawson comes back to some form of what he was. A lot of the mock drafts that I'm seeing have the Jets taken Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan, the defensive end. He's got like 13 sacks this year.
Watched him play the other day against Iowa, man. The guy's a monster.
So him and Carl Lawson on both sides of the ball with John Franklin Myers and Quinnen Williams in the middle, like that could be a nice defensive line there next year. That could change a lot of things because you're pressuring. Once you can pressure the quarterback, like, you know, it takes a lot of pressure off the corners, takes a lot of pressure off of the secondary, because they don't have to cover as long, right? Because you know, there's less time for the quarterback. So you're right. It does play a huge thing. And Seattle winning, that sucks because that drops it to the 9th pick. Now they got to play like Texans, Jacksonville, and the Lions still. So that draft pick could end up with. Could end up being a 7-win team instead of what it could have been. So
right, and they're just going to have to make sure that they hit, because if they don't hit, I mean, they're going to be in trouble, man. They're going to be in trouble because they and you know, I remember when we did the preview shows and we talked, Joe. Remember we were talking about, you know, a lot of times teams won't win when they spend a lot in free agency.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried about that. I was a little worried about Mac Jones being drafted, but it all just seemed to work out. You know, maybe it's the right combo. I still think they overpaid Aguilar and Bourne, but that's all right. They had to get him there because what did we say? You have to overpay to get players when you lose a guy named Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Besides Tom Brady. So,
well, they also overpaid a lot for Johnny Smith, who's not producing jack shit on the offense. So.
Oh, hold on. Here's a Mark. Hi, Mark. How are you? I just want to say,
I didn't think we'd see Mark.
The Bills D held the Pats' elite running game. Okay, I'm going to retort. Please allow me to retort. All right. So you knew the defense knew the Patriots were going to run every play, and you still gave up 3.5 yards. Guess what that is over 3 plays? That's a first down every 3 plays. I'm good with that. That's 10.5 yards. And you knew it. One blown play killed us. Now, timeout. If we didn't fumble the ball down on the damn 7, whatever the hell, or N'Keal Harry, fucking, why is he taking punts? He hasn't been a punt returner all year. And he's taking on the windiest day of his career. So theoretically, Mark, you shouldn't have been there, because one blown play, we would have shut you guys out. So come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that going into this. Is how are the Patriots not going 3 and out on every drive? Because you knew exactly what was going to happen. So why you didn't have? I mean, you didn't even need to cover anybody. You could have even brought your corners in.
No,
they weren't going to throw the ball. I mean, the second pass attempt that Mac Jones had, that was a desperation throw because he was about to get hit. If not, he was going to scramble and try to run out of bounds. That's where he was going until the defender came in and forced him to throw the ball away. But that wasn't even supposed to be a pass attempt.
No.
He was running it.
Yes, he was running it and he just chucked it to get out. But Mark, I get it. Look, let's face it. The wind. I mean that those passes that Allen was throwing, they look good to start out and then they float away because you had east to west winds. And I don't want to get too much into the Pats game yet, but still, I mean, you say elite. I think that's pretty damn good. 3.5 a carry when they ran
I
the
don't.
ball 27 straight times. I'll take that all day long. All day
Yeah,
long.
I don't know if it's elite, but I think that's why it's in parentheses. But
You don't know if it's elite. Let's see here. I don't know. Let's see if they are elite. I
yeah,
don't know. Let me look it up. Let me see where we're
uh,
at. We had 222 yards last night. Pretty damn good.
um, who else? Well, yeah. Well, you look at that because you have to get ready for your spiel. I will say yes, the Jets do need to crush the draft, and I hope they grab
Yep.
a defensive end or a cornerback with that first pick, and they grab that center from Iowa with their mid round that they're going to get from Seattle. That would be nice, just to bolster two of those three positions. We definitely need it. It's going to be another interesting offseason. It's what my life. It's what I live for. Is the Jets offseason. It sucks,
Good.
but let's see. Lions. Can we talk about the Lions real quick before we get
Please
into
let's
deep?
do. I want to talk more about the Vikings D on the last play, but please start us out.
Well, that is really the culmination of that game. I mean, the fact that you give the Lions the ball with what they have a minute and a half left, I think it was in the fourth quarter, and you let them walk down the field, the Lions, without Swift, walked down the field. And on the last play of the game, you're giving wide receivers cushions at like the 4 yard. What was that? Was it the 4 they were at? The 6?
Why was there a safety in the back of the end zone?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why were there cornerbacks in the end zone?
Was it a Hail Mary?
No.
Is that what they were?
You didn't see it?
No,
Oh,
I
Joe.
did see it.
Okay.
I'm saying, were they back there because they thought it was going to be a 6 yard Hail Mary and they wanted to be. That's the only thing maybe it's like AJ Green who just forgot he was playing in the middle of that last drive. I don't understand it.
When I was watching that, so they went from one game to another, and that play came on, and I'm just watching it. I'm like, you have got to be shitting me, Minnesota. Your playoff lives are hanging by a string, a little tiny string. And you give up that play to the Detroit Lions, actually to anybody. That play should not be given up to anybody. Never mind who it is. Detroit just happened to be the team to expose them like that. But boy, how Zimmer wasn't fired this morning or yesterday morning is beyond me. I don't get it.
11-yard pass. So.
That's even worse because, I mean, come on. What are you throwing, a 21-yard freaking Hail Mary? You're right. No, you're not.
I understand it.
Keep everybody in front of you. No one was getting behind you. And then if they did, you had enough time to get back because it's 21 yards. It's 21 yards total. I mean, come on. Just the dumbest shit ever.
It really was. It really was. That was, and that's the last play of the game. I mean, it was 4 seconds left on the clock, I believe it was. You bump them, you force them off their route, and then you just let your defense go get Jared Goff. It's
I don't get it.
That's a hard one. I mean, congratulations to Dan Campbell. I mean, that is a man that is pure fire. He really is. Like he's emotion and he loves the game. I think more than most coaches that you'll ever see. I mean, he's up there in tears when they lose games, and you don't see that kind of raw emotion from it. Like that man loves football, which is great. And the team fights for him.
They do.
I mean, they were 0-11, right? Or sorry, 0-10 and 1.
And 1, yeah.
And they're going out there fighting and scrapping that entire game to pull out this win. I mean, most teams would have just cashed it in at this point and been like, well, that's about it. But they fought to the end, and I mean, you got to commend them. Congratulations to them. But man, no other team, I don't think would have given that play up. I mean, It would have had to been a tight, perfect throw to somebody or some kind of toe tap on the sideline type of thing to win that game for most teams if the Lions were to win that game. So, I mean, hell of a game for the Lions. Absolutely good to see a team, especially from my perspective, a team that's continuously shitty like mine to get a win. It just feels good for the little guys, you know? Uh,
Exactly.
Speaking of
Um,
shitty teams, though, can we also talk about the Giants real quick?
oh yes, because Jim's here. I mean,
Yeah.
he's jumping on it. That's why you love Minnesota. This is why we love the Giants, Jim.
Yeah. Jim, you do have the link to jump on the show if you want to jump in.
He
But
must be out and about. He's on Facebook, so I'm assuming he's
no,
out
he's
and
on
about.
the YouTube. He's got the little red square down there.
Does he? I thought it's a Facebook. Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Giants, I mean, yeah, we knew with
Knock it off.
we knew with Mike Glennon it wasn't going to be pretty. And Jim, good for you, man. You bet with your heart just like I do. You said the Giants were going to win, even though I think you knew deep down there was no chance. But the Dolphins came through again. I expected it to be a lot bigger than this, to be completely honest with you. But 20-9, and Tua keeps doing it. I don't.
I mean, there he is, 30 for 41, 2 touchdowns. Again, no mistakes, 244. And why is that? Mr. Jalen Waddle, 9 for 90. You know, we were talking about rookie of the year. I think Jamar Chase was 5 for 53 or 5 for 54, I think. So
I'll jump over. I'll
you
tell
know,
you.
Waddle may have went up with them. Went up
5 for 52. Yep.
That was close, yeah. So yeah, so I don't think Jalen propelled over him yet. I mean, obviously Mac Jones didn't help himself out too much yesterday, but
No.
but that's okay because he's still the quarterback, and I still think if they make the playoffs, he's going to win it anyways. But I think you're right, Joe. You brought it up, you know, Sunday. Waddle's getting close, man, and I'll tell you what. Again, as long as Waddle's catching the balls and Tua's throwing it, they're winning. You
Yeah.
know, and their running game, they only ran for 68 yards, so they're they're not
No, they
committed
have
to the
nothing.
run yet. You know, they're just not. Devontae Parker came back. Gasecki's back. So, I mean, Gasecki and Waddle both had 11 targets. Albert Wilson had 8. Parker had 5. I'm looking at it. He caught all 5. But, again, you were playing a Giants team with Mike Glennon. Saquon Barkley, 11 for 55. Why aren't you running him more? Honestly,
Mhm.
why don't you run him more? I mean, the game was 10-3 at halftime. You weren't out of it.
No.
I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. But
Right. Who do you want to? Who's giving you the best chance to win? Mike Glennon or Saquon Barkley?
Saquon Barkley, and I think we
Right.
talked about that. Barkley will have to have a big game.
Yeah.
So I threw out there too, Joe. I don't know if you've seen it on our page. You know, Jonathan Taylor himself has more touchdowns than the Giants
And
combined.
the Giants too.
So, but all kidding aside, do you break out the checkbook? And that's what I posted. Did you break out the checkbook for Danny Dimes and Saquon Barkley? Me personally, I don't think you can. I know Glennon was concussed, but I don't think he was going to win anyways. He could have had whatever and still lost. But I mean, Saquon, he's CMC. You can see it. You know what I mean? He's going to be cursed every year. And Daniel Jones. I mean, it's almost like you have to start over. I hate to say it, or go after a free agent. I don't know who's out there that will be a free agent, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you can pay those guys. I just don't know how you can pay those guys.
Free agent quarterbacks don't hit the market. They just.
No,
I mean,
they
teams don't let them. If you're a good
they
quarterback, the team doesn't let you go. So, like, trying to think like, oh, I can fix the quarterback position in free agency. Look at the Saints. Like,
Right.
they got the best free agent quarterback, and Jameis Winston sucks. So,
Yeah. And
You know.
unless, and I was thinking this, unless say, hey, Aaron Rodgers wants to leave Green Bay. You know, Matt brought up LaFleur, didn't he? I think so.
yeah,
I don't know.
right. I mean, yeah, they could pull off a trade for like Rodgers, Wilson, something of that nature, but
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is a free agent next year. So,
Yeah.
not this year, but if they wait another year, they can go get Kirk Cousins.
Right.
He could not win you games too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know he's going to get like a $300 million contract somehow.
I'm sorry. Mike LaFleur is with the Jets, right?
Yeah,
He's offensive coordinator with the Jets.
he's the Jets offensive coordinator, which I think he's been doing a good job since he's moved up into the booth. I think he's been doing a much better job than he was calling plays on the sideline. Come on, the offense has gotten better.
God, I wish Jim was here. This is when Jim and I would look at each other and would be like,
You can't tell me the offense is not better since he's gone up top. Just has. I mean, I'm not saying it's great. He's learning how to be an offense coordinator. Coaches learn how to be a head coach. Quarterbacks learn how to quarterback. But since he's gone up into the press boxes up there, whatever
You're
they're
right.
called,
They're scoring 12 points a game instead
they're
of
scoring
4.
12 points instead of 4. And so I
Okay,
consider that
you got me there. You got me there.
I consider that a win. Okay, so
I consider simple things. Simple things.
it's baby steps with this team. But yeah, I mean the Giants it's tough. It's tough, but you know the good thing for the Giants as well is they've got that Bears pick, which is looking very nice,
Sure is.
very nice. So
Sure is.
when we're talking about bad teams with an influx of talent coming in, I mean you're about to have potentially definitely two top 10 picks that the Giants are going to be adding
Very true.
to this team.
Yep.
That's got to help. It just has to. So they should get better. Jets should get better. And eventually we're going to be having a three-way conversation here where all of our teams in week 13 are pushing for playoffs. Eventually it's going to happen.
Oh man. I'm just looking up what year Bryce Young is in to see if the Giants can draft him.
Bryce Young.
Because my man has the Heisman locked up for Bama.
Oh, for the new Bama quarterback?
Yeah, 43 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's what you want.
Is he a
He's a
freshman?
sophomore. No, he's a sophomore.
So
There you go.
he can
The
come out next
slinger.
year?
I think so. I don't know if he was redshirted though. Let me see. No, he
Oh,
played last year.
Mahoney's saying he's a frosh.
It's saying sophomore on ESPN, Matt.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait till next year.
Mahoney played the 4 greatest teams. Hey, Matt, you play up to your talent, man. That's all. You know that. Houston, the Jets, I mean, they were good one time. He played under 4 games. So it shows okay.
Yeah, you do need to cut Gettleman for the draft, that's for sure.
Okay. I didn't realize
under-
that it doesn't say on ESPN. It just shows 13 to 22. Just out of curiosity, that's all.
All right, so before we get to your game, let's
Yeah.
quickly. We talked about the Steelers Ravens already. Nothing really to talk about. Washington, they pulled out a win, but nothing too exciting to talk about there. Seahawks Niners. We touch on that, and then we'll close it out
Sure,
with you.
absolutely.
So this game,
You were supposed to go to that game, right?
I was, and then somebody went to the strip club and got too drunk the night before.
Oh, Mitch, that crazy bastard.
Yeah, he said I was out partying a little too late last night. I'm not gonna make it. He's like too much titties and tequila for me. So
Oh, God.
I was like, all right, fair enough.
Fair enough.
I understand. Plus, I mean, it was cold and just bleh. And plus, I don't care about those teams that much anyway. So I was
Right.
like, I'll stay home and watch football nice and warm.
That's
So,
funny.
but I do kind of regret it because 30-23, it was an exciting game.
It was.
a
It
lot of
was.
back and forth. Adrian Peterson had a touchdown. I would have got to see all day
Don't
score a
get
touchdown.
Matt going. Okay, so before we go
It
into
would have just
that,
been cool to see, like to say, like, hey, I saw Adrian Peterson score a touchdown. It's like saying, I mean, he's one of those running backs that's going to be.
he was also 11 for 16.
I'm
11
not saying-
for 6. I know, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
this.
I know.
Before Matt says something.
Yeah, he's not great, but
Oh,
he's
hold
still
on.
going to be. He's going to be
Hold on,
in the
right
long run.
there.
What's up?
So you think the Jet profile pick bet?
Was listening on a plane working, so you think the Jets will beat the Jags? Profile. What do we?
You
Did
have
we
to
start
bet
talking
profile
about the
picks,
Jets?
jerseys,
Did we start
man.
talking about the Jets Jaguars? Did I say that?
No, because you said you shouldn't disrespect a team that has less wins than us. Remember?
Oh,
The
that was
Jags
like
have
an
2 wins.
that was weeks ago. Yeah, we'll get into those bets as that game gets here. We'll see. But I'm not against it. Definitely not. You know me, John. I'm not against a good profile Facebook profile bet.
Hey, Travis, can we bet that? What's the over under on that 9?
Oh, man. God, I hate this show.
Jim,
I don't even
do you think it will be that high? Do you think it will be that high?
I don't even know why I hang out with you guys. Can you imagine what the ticket price is going to be on that one? That's got to
They're
set
gonna pay
it.
you.
That's got to. Yeah.
You
Come on
said
in. Free
win
hot
team,
dog
yeah?
voucher.
Yeah. Young as a sophomore. My bad. Okay, no worries, Matt. I just seen he threw 13 passes last year. That's all. It didn't show how many games.
Travis, I hope the Jags win so we get a better pick, to be completely honest.
I hope
So,
they tie. I hope they tie 3-3. And there's 6 people. And there's 6 people.
that would be incredible. All right, so
11 for 15, Matt. That's all I'm gonna say. I agree. AP is a first ballot Hall of Famer,
yeah.
but he's 11 for 15, my friend.
And
11 for 15.
Matt, you could
He's
tell.
done.
Was it? Did he take over 10th or tie for 10th all-time touchdowns?
I
with
thought
that?
he took over for. I thought he
Is
took
he now
over
top
10.
10.
I thought he was. Yes.
Yeah.
Which again,
Good
not
for
taking
him.
anything away from the guy. I mean,
No.
longevity, but he's averaging 1.5 yards a carry.
Like I said, he's not Minnesota AP anymore, but still to say like, hey, I got to see Adrian Peterson score a touchdown.
Absolutely,
It's like,
yeah.
even if you watched Michael Jordan play for the Wizards, you still watched Michael Jordan play basketball. So, it's one of those things. All right, but yeah, let's talk about this. So Russell Wilson looked pretty good. The 49ers, like we were kind of talking about briefly earlier, without Deebo Samuel, they don't look like the 49ers that we've seen. I mean, you want to talk about a player that has a massive impact on a team's outcome. It seems to be no player has a big, maybe Taylor in Indy, but I mean, Deebo Samuel, he's been just on offense destroying teams, and I don't know what happened. If it is a division game with Seattle, and it was in Seattle, maybe that had a bigger effect on it, but this is a game that they could have won. The 49ers, it was second and goal inside the 5, I think, and they couldn't score to tie this game up at the end of the game. And
so, did you
like
see
you
the
talked
last
about.
play of the game, Joe? The last
the
offensive
tipped
play.
pass. What do you?
I mean, he threw the ball when he released that ball. He was looking right at that defensive lineman, and he like almost. I mean, he was trying to throw it right over his helmet.
Yeah.
All he did was stick his hand up this high, and he tipped it.
Right.
I mean, it was a terrible pass. I mean,
I just let me take
no air under it, nothing. You know what I mean? It was
No,
just
I mean
like,
that's one
come
of
on.
those. Yeah, you've either got you either need a window that you can dart that ball through,
Yeah.
or it needs to be a touch pass somewhere in the end zone,
Yes.
like somewhere where you're going to get an offensive or a defensive penalty, like a holding play because a player can't go up and get the ball type of
right.
a thing. But Elijah Mitchell, I was going to say give him the ball, but he was 22 for 66. That's not good.
Yeah. I mean, it's. And then George Kittle had 1 carry. Jimmy G had 2. They're decimated with the running game. And I will say, without Deebo Samuel, they do lose something. But I mean, Kittle, 9 for 181 and 2 touchdowns. I mean,
Big game. Game. And if you want to give it to Matt a little bit, I mean the Niners did draft Trey Sermon, who in the 3rd round, and they're running a 6th round Elijah Mitchell over him. I mean, I thought he was supposed to be good, Trey Sermon. What happened with that?
I don't know. I mean, looking at the depth chart, is even on there.
He's
He
right? Isn't he the Oklahoma kid, right?
He's not even listed. Is he hurt?
Really? No, Trey Sermon. He's Ohio State. Sorry.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
Getting those mixed up. But yeah, Trey Sermon. I don't know why they're not running him at all. It doesn't. I mean, this San Francisco team's weird. It's like as soon as you piss, Kyle Shanahan's like a bigger baby than Bill Belichick is. Like once you offend Bill Belichick, you're in the doghouse. It's true. You know how Bill is.
Of course, but hey,
Shanahan's the same way.
He's strict. He's strict. He went to Navy. He started coaching at Navy.
It's called a temper tantrum, and my 4-year-old does it when they don't get what they want. But like Brandon Ayuk,
perfect segue into the Bills and Pats.
Brandon Ayuk spent half the season in the doghouse, and nobody even knows why. Trey Sermon, well, he's on IR, but that was as of 3 days ago, so he hasn't been getting any run before that. I mean, it's just I don't know. This just a weird team. Like San
I
Francisco's
know
just a weird team. I don't
they are. You never know what team is going to show up with them. You
know.
just don't.
It's weird. And that game this game did hurt. That hurt a lot for Jets fans because with Jacksonville, Texans, and the Lions coming up, like that's 3 more games they could win. That's a 7-win. It's a 7-win team that could potentially really hurt for draft picks.
Yeah.
So this was a game that I was really hoping San Francisco would handle. Just very, very disappointing overall. But Seattle did come back to life.
Division
And,
game again, man. Division games
yeah.
are tough, man. They just
can't-
are.
You can't figure them out. But
No.
all right, and then we'll wrap it with you and Big Baby Belichick. The
Wouldn't
floor
it
is
be
yours.
Big Baby McDermott? I mean, did he not look like a whiny little 5-year-old through that whole game? He's jumping around. He's screaming at the refs every 3 seconds. He's just, I don't know. He's smacking his hands like trying to be like Pete Carroll. I don't know. I don't know if he's always like that, but he just looked pissed off. So, all right. I'm going to agree with Jim with what he said earlier. If I thought it was a phenomenal game plan. I don't care because it worked. I'm sure they would have adjusted had it wasn't. And I know Mark said the elite running game, and they average 124 yards a game. They got 15 touchdowns by running backs, and I think they're in the top 5 in yards, not averaging, but yards. So they do run the ball a lot. So, our quarterback won by throwing 3 passes. Joe and I were talking about this before the show started. How did that happen? I don't care what the weather's like. If you know that that's what they're going to do and you can't stop them, our O-line beat your D-line, period, dot. They beat your D-line, and then somehow they got into like the linebackers and started pushing them around because they weren't making tackles. Mm-hmm. So, that's truly what happened. Judon said something about the whole offense did great, and he was joking. He goes, the whole offense did great except for Mac Jones. It was funny as hell. But it was just so funny. Awesome. It was just so funny. But honestly, it was a great game plan. It was a game plan to that kind of went with the weather. It went with the Patriots' strength. I think you would have seen a lot of rushing anyways, to be quite honest. And I can't wait to play I hope we get to play a normal game, because if we can run the ball like that when they know we're not going to pass, how are we going to run the ball when they don't know if we're going to pass? You know what I mean? When maybe we can. And Joe, I know that's what we were talking about earlier. We don't know who the Pats are yet, because it just seems like we run into these weird things. And Mark, I don't know if I'd say that. Buffalo has a good defense. They do. Quite honestly, since Trent Brown has come back, the Patriots have not lost a game. And that whole O-line has been different. They've been the same O-line for the past 7-8 weeks now. Yes, Buffalo missed the extra point. Thank you, Carlos. They did. They missed the extra point at the very beginning. But our D, Patriots D, and I need to go back and listen when you guys were giving me shit about me saying the Patriots were going to win at least 10 games in the top 10 and a top 5 defense, because I think they're almost there with one of them, and they're pretty darn close to being top 5, if not, right outside of there right now. They're just playing good. And how many teams can trade your best cornerback and not skip a beat? Jalen Mills from Philly, I didn't like that trade at first, or signing. He's actually playing really well. Kyle Duggar was out, which nobody heard of him because he went to a D2 school, and he's amazing this year. And I thought they did miss an extra point though. Oh no, field goal maybe. Yeah.
They missed that.
They missed that field goal.
The chip shot field goal, which you don't go for it. Why you don't go for it on 4th and what was it, like a 26-yard field goal they tried in that wind?
Yeah.
Come on, just go for it at that point.
That's right, field goal. Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, I know it was there. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, you're right. It was 11-7 at the half because we went for 2 right away and got it. I just think they played them perfect. They played to their strength. Again, I don't know if you'd only see 3 passing yards if it wasn't, east to west 50-mile-an-hour gusts. You probably wouldn't. But they did it and won. It's like I was texting with somebody I work with. He's a Buffalo fan, and I said, if you would have bet me $10,000 and said we'd win if Mac Jones goes 2 for 3 for 17 yards, I would have taken that 10 grand back. And I'd probably cry and my wife would divorce me, but that's all right. I mean, shit happens. No, I'm kidding, honey. I love you. But yeah, I mean, again, a weird game. And thank you again, Baltimore. Number 1 seed in the AFC right now. And Buffalo is in trouble. They're going to Tampa this week. It's not an easy place to play. Man, they may be 7-6 in the next 5 days. And who the hell was predicting that one? Who was predicting that? No one.
No, I mean, and I warned Mark early in the year. I don't even remember this, but I told him he's going to piss off the football gods with all his bragging. And now look what you did. Now you gave the Patriots the top of the division. And unforgivable is what it is. It's unforgivable. Your top fan badge is gone. I mean, it's just... it just frustrates. It frustrates me just like it does. I'm sure Mark feels even worse considering he was supposed to have the runaway team in the AFC this year, I think, from what everybody was saying, right? Like it was basically the Bills already took the East. The other ones are going to be tight. And then here we are in all sorts of chaos. And, but I don't agree with Matt on that one. Like, I don't think Bass cost them that game. I mean, trying to kick in that weather, like you saw the field goal that Folk made in the fourth quarter. Like he kicked that thing like he was purposely trying to kick it, far left, and that ball just halfway through just
came right over.
I mean, hooked in harder than I've ever seen a football. Yeah, you can't kick in that kind of weather. You're hoping for a gust of wind or not for a gust of wind, because if the wind would have stayed low, that ball would have just sailed straight left and missed completely. But
it wasn't an easy field goal, Matt. It was 50 to 50
mile
an hour
crosswinds. I mean,
come on. I mean, please stop.
Did you see that? You saw the goalposts from the rear shot when he was lining up for the kick. I mean, they're just like, it looked like a skyscraper in an earthquake. They were just.
Wait a minute. I know why he's blaming Bass. Hold on. This is why we argue all the time.
Oh, is he an SEC kicker?
No, he went to Georgia Southern, so it can't be that. Okay, I don't know what it is then.
Well, maybe because Georgia is in the
Georgia
South?
Southern, no? Yeah, it's not an SEC team. Matt and I and our little group on Facebook, we're very strict. It's the team you get drafted by. It's like Jalen Hurts wasn't Bama. You know what I mean? He was Oklahoma, if you think about it. You know what I mean? No, not Jalen Hurts. God, what's his name?
Well, Jalen Hurts was.
He was Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Where did he get drafted from? He got drafted from Oklahoma, right?
Right. Yeah. He started in Alabama.
Right.
Then Tua took over.
Then
he
Tua
transferred
took over.
to Oklahoma.
He left. So he's technically.
You mean the school you're drafted by, not the team
you're drafted out of. Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Gotcha.
So he's a Big 12. Buffalo has the worst time with kick. Yeah, they do, Matt. So a couple things I want to say. The end of the game. Two times Buffalo goes down the field. Patriots stop them in the red zone. And to me, this is why the Patriots will always win the close games when it comes to coaching. They were able to take a fourth down snap instead of kicking it, causing anything, because they had 2 timeouts left, for one, or they had a timeout left, I believe. They used them perfect when they had to, and Buffalo didn't. Buffalo's player got hurt and ended up costing them a timeout, like we were texting Joe. Cost them a timeout, allowed the Patriots to just kneel on the ball and be done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's things like that. It's not a coincidence. Belichick prepares for everything. He just does. And I mean, I thought it was a perfectly coached game, and I'm going to throw it out there right now. If Bill doesn't get consideration for Coach of the Year, it's a sham. The only other person I may say is maybe
Kingsbury.
Kingsbury up in Arizona. That's the only other person right now that I think them two are probably neck and neck. But I mean, how do you not consider Belichick for coaching? It's probably because of who he is. I get it, and how the Patriots have won. But man, what a job he's done.
No, I mean, as much as it kills me, to not give him credit for what he's done would be a disservice to football. Really, I mean, I hate him. I hate him with every bone and cell in my body. But to say he's not one of the best coaches of all time is ridiculous, and not and to not respect him for the year that he's putting together with this, to win a game with 3 passes, really 2 passes, but
It's just
two
amazing.
called passes is incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
like we were talking about, like we'll see what happens next time. Everything just seems to work out. You know, the Titans were decimated. We were talking about that. That should have been a very tough game. It was super easy. It was non-competitive. The weather made this game really weird. And kind of like Mark's saying, 1 for 4 in the red zone is not something you see very often from the Bills. I mean, so what's going to happen next time they meet, right? Is it going to be a friggin', nor'easter coming through and
It
17
could.
feet
It's
of
the
snow
day
on the
after
ground?
Christmas. You know,
Right?
it's
I
the
mean,
day after
something's going to
Christmas,
happen.
so,
Something's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
happen. But yeah, we don't know who they are. But that's the thing with Bill Belichick is he has the ability to make
Adapt
things
to
simple.
anything. He
He
does.
does,
He
but
adapts
he
to anything.
he seems to just simplify the game to its elements and then work within it, right?
Yeah.
Like it does nothing seem it's like a veteran quarterback. The game's slower. It moves in different ways than it does for the young guys. That everything's chaos. People are flying around, and then you watch those other guys that go back there. They're just patting the ball, looking all around, find the open
Right.
receiver, boom, and the other guys are scrambling, panicking all over the place. And that's kind of what Belichick's at. Like the game has become so simple and elemental to him that he can just pick it apart, break it into pieces, and figure out how to beat it. It's a puzzle that he solves without much competition. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which sucks, and I hate him. But in reality, it's like, at what point do you think about renaming the Lombardi Trophy? Like, I hate it, but I mean, the man, to say he's not a better coach. I don't know. I would love to see them both in their heyday,
Right.
but because obviously none of us really got to see how Lombardi coached games and
Course not,
coached
course not.
teams. I mean, not many of them are even televised or are recorded well enough to even make things out on the sidelines. But it would be interesting to see, with the level of talent that there is today and how the game has evolved, like how the two of them would match up against each other. You know what I mean? Because when you look at the minds of coaches, like they're the Mount Rushmore, right? Like they're two of the faces I would say
Yeah.
you'd have to put up there, right? Like,
Yeah.
who else? Like
Well, Belichick
probably-
is a Parcells disciple.
Yeah.
A very. I mean, yet last night's game was Bill Parcells. This season has been a Bill Parcells type season. I mean, it really truly has. I mean, it's just hard nosed running, and I think we were talking about that before. Early in the year, I said whoever the quarterback is, they're not going to be put in a position to make a whole lot of mistakes, and he just doesn't.
And he wasn't put in a position to make any mistakes yesterday.
No, thank
Zero.
God, too. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because it's like, I mean, Josh Allen, he was 50%, but I mean, Josh Allen has a hell of an arm, and he still couldn't throw the ball right. So why
No,
not just
it
run
was
the
still
ball the whole
moving everywhere.
game? And I think Belichick would have kept doing it. I think they were so stuck on what they were going to do. They were going to win or lose running the ball 37 times.
Yeah.
They just were.
Right. And the teams on the other side, they don't adapt.
No.
It's like you're looking across at one of the best coaches of all time, and all he's doing is running the ball. How about we start running the ball? Like,
Right.
at what point do you stop trying to outthink yourself? Like, if the best guy's doing it, maybe we should too, right? I mean,
Right.
and yeah, I don't think I don't think you could just put 4 faces on the Mount Rushmore of football, but because these names up here are
I mean, Landry, Shulia, Madden. I mean,
Walsh. I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's a lot.
John
There's a
Wooden
lot
did
of
have
names.
insane talent, boy. I mean, that's no
Yeah.
doubt. And I mean, but two totally different times of football too. Last night was the least amount of attempts since like 1963 and 1947, because that's back when they didn't really throw the ball.
Right. It was all running.
Everybody gives, like, I hate to say it, Terry Bradshaw a bunch of shit, but they didn't throw the ball back then.
Mhm.
They didn't, but he
Yeah.
managed the game. He was a game
Same
manager.
with that's why, like, Joe Namath takes a lot of shit. But you look at his passing numbers back then,
They were good for them. They were,
Yeah,
yeah,
they were really
absolutely. They
good.
were
I
good
mean,
for
he
them.
was kind of changing the way the NFL
Yeah.
saw quarterbacks back then, and
Shit,
now
up
you look back
until
and
what, 8 years ago? Set what, when Brady threw for 50 back in '07. So you figure what, 14 years ago. But still, it still wasn't a big time passing league. It was because you had Breeze, Manning, and Brady in their heyday. You know
yeah,
what I mean? But I mean, now it's if you don't throw for 4,000 yards, you
right, you're
suck.
garbage. Right,
You suck, and it's just a
that's the league today.
totally different league. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why I mean, but it's hard to say like
yeah,
how these great coaches throughout history would adapt to a game that is now so
right.
multi-dimensional. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
just to hand the ball off, or you have five pass attempts in a game like you did back in the day. I mean,
yeah.
so how now that you've got to take so many things into consideration now, and all the trick plays that are going on now, and the game is just it's so evolved as compared to what it used to be. How would these
Yeah.
guys how would their coaching abilities translate to today's NFL? I mean, I'm sure they'd
True.
figure it out, but it's kind of that same debate you have with like Babe Ruth. How good would Babe Ruth be in 2021?
Jameis sucks.
You know,
Travis didn't
he
like that.
does.
I don't think Jameis sucks either, but
He
I like
does.
Jameis Winston. He
Jameis
does.
Winston sucks. He's not a good quarterback. If he was, he wouldn't have got cut by Tampa Bay. Like, yeah, he's got a good arm. He could throw a lot of
Well,
touchdowns. He could also throw a lot of
well,
interceptions.
they
And he
got Tom
wasn't.
Brady though. I mean, you can't really compare that. They
They
got
let him
Tom
go
Brady.
before that happened, though.
Yeah, but they knew they were getting Brady. They had.
Well, they still would have let him go. They were still talking. I mean, he had as many touchdowns as he did interceptions last year.
Yeah,
He's not a good quarterback. Uh,
that's funny.
Now I got to look it up to even see what he did this year because it wasn't. Jameis Winston, 1,100 yards, 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's good. But when we talk about it week in and week out, he wasn't good. I mean, Simeon's got he's less than 100 yards away from his season total in 5 games. He's terrible. Yeah, but he also led the league in interceptions. So what do you want? What's more valuable, passing yards or interceptions? Ask Tom Brady. What would he rather have?
That's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He would
What would
rather
he
have
rather
the '07 Super Bowl than the one against the Rams. He would give up 2 Super Bowls for the one against the Giants.
Oh, I can imagine. I would
Yeah.
too. So I don't know, but I mean that's so I mean the coaching thing's a whole debate in
Yeah.
itself. But I mean you do have to give Bill props. But dude, seriously, Bill, like fucking retire, man. Like
No
I
way.
can't keep doing this.
No
Like
way. I can't.
he's got a beautiful boat down in like Key West, right?
Florida,
Like
yes.
enjoy it for a couple years. What is he? How old is he now?
This is what he does. Do you know who shares a birthday with him?
No,
April 16th, baby. Bill
you
Belichick.
do.
I do.
Ugh, God, I like you
It's
even less
like
now.
it's like we were meant to be. It's like we were meant to be.
Let me. So what year was he born? He's 69 years old.
52.
So he's going to be.
born in 52.
God, he's going to be 70 years old.
April
Huh?
16th. I usually call him. I shoot him a text first, make sure he's up. I don't want to interrupt him while he's game planning, but I'm like, Bill, happy birthday. He goes, JB, happy birthday, man. What should we do this week?
So what do? Text him at 2 a.m. to make sure he's not.
Hey, I'm up a couple hours later, man. I'm up a
Yeah,
couple hours later.
I don't think. I still at his age, he's still waking up before we are.
Jim,
So.
shut your dirty little mouth right now. Just shut it. Thoughts on Brady Belichick Super Bowl? I mean, anything can happen, man. Any team can happen. Anything can happen. It just
Yeah.
can. Is it starting to become a little bit more doable? Oh yeah. Remember, Pats were 2-4 at one point, and
Well, I
everybody
mean-
was giving me shit.
Look at the paths to the Super Bowl, though. I mean, the Patriots have the much easier path because to get to the Super Bowl, the Bucks are going to have to get through Arizona or Green Bay. They're going to
Yes.
have to go there because
Yes.
I don't see those teams giving up either one of
No.
those teams losing the number 1 seed
Nope.
to them.
Nope. I agree.
So if the road to the Super Bowl runs through New England again, that gives them a major upside. And there's
Yeah.
no AFC team that's as dominant as either one of those three NFC teams. Not right now. And we're not even talking about the Rams.
No, not right
The
now.
Rams
Not
are
right now.
the Rams are probably a better team than the NFC than all the AFC teams right now.
Whoa, relax, man. Relax.
Talent-wise.
Why we gotta go there?
Talent-wise.
Yeah, but boy, you got to put it together. You got to put it together. That's where I like our chances. It
could be a thing though, but
Right,
I'm
yeah.
pulling
Look out for
my
Indy.
Cardinals.
Look out for Indy.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried about Indy in 2 weeks. A little bit worried about that.
Where is that game at?
Indy.
Good. So we don't have to worry about any kind of weird weather conditions in that
here
one.
we go.
Now we just gotta hope Jonathan Taylor's gonna get hurt this week.
It's a Sunday night game too. That's even better.
Wait, the
Even
Colts have a
better.
bye. Colts have a bye. Jonathan Taylor can't get hurt.
So, yes, so does New England. They're both on a bye. They're both coming off a bye week.
Nice.
I love it.
Nice. All right. Well, that's going to be one to get excited about.
I'll be taking
And
that
then-
Monday off.
And then you got the Bills coming right back after that, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to be it's yours to hold on to, but it's not going to be easy to hold on to that number 1 seed. So yeah, Wentz will end up Wentz is going to hurt himself on the bye. He's going to do something and like
He's painting and he slips off a ladder.
gets paint in his eye.
Paint in his eye, he can't see.
That's the weird thing. Like he
Jack-
falls off the ladder, he's perfectly fine, but a drop of paint gets
Hanging
in his
Christmas
eye and
lights at home this weekend. He slips and falls.
staples his shirt to the house and
Pulls a Clark Griswold and just doesn't recover from it.
Right,
Just
right.
doesn't recover from it.
that's gonna be awesome.
Oh, if that happens, I mean, I hope he doesn't get hurt. But if it happened, I
No.
would kind of chuckle. Not gonna
It would
lie.
be funny. It would be really funny. So, all right. Well, we'll wrap it up with that. It was a very crazy week, but that's kind of now that's the new norm. Definitely the new norm so we'll see if we can get some preview shows. You're not going to have one, but the Jets
It's all
do
right.
have
I'll still be there in heart.
the Jets do have a Saints game coming up this week, so
Ooh,
we'll see what
talking
happens.
Shit about Jameis. Now you're in.
We'll see
now
what
you
happens
did it.
there. I wish
Now you
Jameis was
did it.
playing. Oh, Seamus. But he'll be watching from the sideline,
Seamus
and
Winston.
I guess it'll be Hill throwing interceptions.
Hill's terrible.
He really is.
I don't understand them signing him.
No,
Travis, if you can tell us something about that, I know you're not down there in New Orleans, but
no.
tell me why they signed Taysom Hill to that contract. I don't get it.
He must have like some like nude pictures of
Something.
Sean Payton or something that he's holding over people's heads to get these kind of contracts. 'cause
I don't get it.
if
It's
any,
not there.
there's a couple tight ends that deserve quarterback money, and he's not one of them. Not by a mile. Like Gronk, Kelsey. That's about it.
They'd be
That's-
better off with Gardner Minshew as their quarterback than
They
Hill.
would.
I
They
just
would.
don't like Hill. I don't think he's a quarterback. I don't
He's
know
not
what
a
he is.
quarterback.
I don't know what he is. I
He's
just don't know what he is.
He's probably what Tim Tebow should have been. Like when they said Tim Tebow should transition to tight end.
But 14
that-
years ago, yeah.
Right. That if Tebow would have done that, like, hey, I could still throw the ball a little bit, but I'm also a tight end. Like that's kind of where it should be. But he's also a running back. He thinks he's a running back,
Don't
which he's
get
not.
it. I don't understand why Peyton loves that guy.
Yeah,
he's
I don't
not
get
even
it.
he's not even like a really good gadget. You know, like Cordell Patterson, he's a really good gadget guy to
Who
have.
would've
He can do
thought?
everything.
Even that one.
He was returning kicks forever from Minnesota, and now look at
Yeah.
him. He plays every position.
Right.
He's a good gadget player.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
put him at quarterback, okay, fine, because he can do it all. He'll throw it up in the air and catch it himself.
He will.
Taysom Hill, he's not good. I
No.
don't know what they see in him. I don't get
Dude,
it.
you know, in the offseason, him and Kirk Cousins with a cigar and a bottle of scotch,
Yeah.
just cheering
Posting.
to.
Man, we have
posting-
the best agents ever.
Yeah. It's got to be the same guy.
These teams are
nobody else.
idiots. You know, these
Man.
teams are absolutely idiots.
Yeah. All right. Well, good to end with a laugh. So
And
yeah,
Antoine Randall L. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
those are gadget guys.
That's a
those
true
are gadget
gadget
guys.
guy.
But hey, good for Hill. Glad he's getting paid.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense, especially for a Saints team that has no money. like we talked about all last year. They're cutting players left and right to get under the cap. Then you're giving Hill massive quarterback
I'll
contracts.
never get it.
Doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. Not our business. All right, so yeah, we'll try and do a preview show, squeeze it in. So take a look for those, and then we'll be back Sunday, and we will do our regular Sunday preview show. So until then, for John, for Jim, that's in the comments, I'm
Peace.
Joe.